Okay, so as I was saying, you're probably saying, oh, come on, do I have to do the sum of the forces in the y direction all the time when it's just going to give me Fn is equal to Fg? No, you don't have to do it all the time when it's going to give you Fn is equal to Fg. But in 2 questions time, Fn is not going to be equal to Fg. And so you will have to do it. So I'm just trying to get you used to the fact that you always at least have to stop and think about the sum of the forces in the y direction. I'm okay at this point if you want to say, all right, sum of the forces in the y, Fn is going to equal Fg. But don't do that in number 5 on, because it isn't going to be equal to Fg then. You have to go back and list all the forces. But here it is, so it's going to be equal to mg. And if you want it this time, unlike number 2, you could find your value for mg. But you know what? You don't have to find it yet. You could carry it just like you did in the one up top. So let's try that, okay? So Fn will equal Fg will equal mg. And so then we could do, well, friction is equal to mu Fn. And so friction would be equal to mu mg. And if you want it, you could put your values in. But then you'd have to round and have units and maybe just wait on it. And instead go sum of the forces in the x direction. Okay, so in the x direction, we have an F going one way, a friction going the other. So it's going to be F minus friction is equal to max. And this time you're solving for this F. So take friction to the other side. So F equals max plus friction. And friction is mu mg. So F is equal to max plus mu mg. And now fill your numbers in. Okay? So F is equal to m, which was 80 kilograms, A, which was 2.5 meters per second squared, mu, which was 0.4, times 80 kilograms times 9.81 meters per second squared. Okay? And then you're going to punch all that into your calculator. This 80 times 2.5 should be 200. 9.81, 782 times, I'm cheating, 513.92 is what you should get. 513.92 newtons. Done. Okay? Number 4. Number 4 says, a crate is being accelerated along a horizontal surface at a rate of 2 meters per second squared. So A is 2 meters per second squared. Okay? Then it says by a force of 200 newtons applied parallel to the surface. So we have a force here of 200 newtons. This will be my Fg. This will be my Fn. Friction will be acting backward. Then it says, if the coefficient of kinetic friction is 0.2, what is the mass of the crate? So mu is 0.2, and you're looking for m. So we're going to do exactly the same steps that we've done in the past. So we're going to start with sum of the forces in the y direction equal to may. That goes to 0. Fn is going up, Fg is going down. So Fn must be equal to Fg must be equal to mg. And here again, even if you wanted to, you could not find this value because we don't know what m is. It's actually what we're trying to solve for. So, sum of the forces in the y, now we can say friction. FFR is equal to mu Fn. And Fn is just mg. So FFR is equal to mu mg. Now we go to sum of the forces in the x direction. In the x direction, there was F going one way, friction going backward. So F minus friction is equal to max. Now this time you're trying to solve for m, and there's an m here, but there's also an m inside this mu mg, inside this friction. So take this and sub it in for friction. So it'll be F minus mu mg is equal to max. And you're trying to solve for m, so take the two terms with the m's to the same side. So F equals max plus mu mg. And now what do you do to get the m's alone? Do you remember? You have to pull the m out. When you pull it out of the max, you're left with ax. When you pull it out of the mu mg, you're left with mu g. Now, to get the m by itself, divide by the bracket. So it will be m is equal to F over ax plus mu g. F, they told us, was 200 newtons. A was 2 meters per second squared. Mu was 0.2, and G 9.81 meters per second squared. Okay? And then you carefully punch all that into your calculator, and you should get something like 50.48 kilograms. Okay, so see how kind of cool it is if you don't fill your numbers in until the end? It allows you to solve for anything you want without carrying a whole ton of numbers. And it's something that I want you to get used to, because questions are going to get more and more complicated. Carrying the letters will make your life easier. All right, let's take a look at number 5. Number 5 says, you're pulling a child on a toboggan across rough snow. Okay, so here's the toboggan, and you're pulling it. Total mass of the child in the toboggan is 60 kilograms. But then it says you're pulling on the rope with a force of 300 newtons at an angle of 36.89. So this force is, was it 300 newtons? Lost it. Yeah, 300 newtons. And the angle is 36.89. I don't know why it's 8.9. It should be 8.7. I think that was a typo on my part, but okay, 8.9. All right, there'll still be an Fn going up. There'll be an Fg going down. There'll be a friction going backward. And if you remember from grade 11, the first thing you have to do is break this F into its components, Fx and Fy. Fx is the adjacent side, so it's just going to be F cos theta. Fy is the opposite side, so it's going to be F sine theta. So you can find these two values, because it's just going to be 300 newtons cos of 36.89, and Fy will be 300 newtons sine of 36.89. And now it tells you the coefficient of friction is 0.3, and it wants to know what is the acceleration. So mu is 0.3, and it wants to know what's ax. So once you've broken your force at an angle up into its x and y's, now the steps are exactly like they were up here. Start out with sum of the forces in the y direction. This time Fn isn't going to be equal to Fg, because there's another F involved. There's the y component. So it'll be Fn, Fy, and Fg. And they still have to add together to give you 0, because this toboggan isn't floating up into the air or sinking through the ground. Fn's going up, Fy's going up, Fg's going down. So it's going to be positive, positive, negative, and always in the y direction, you're trying to solve for Fn. So take the other two terms over. So it'll be Fn is equal to Fg becomes positive, Fy becomes negative. So Fn will be equal to mg minus F sine theta. and you can fill your values in. Okay, then you would go to friction and solve for that, and then some of the forces in the x direction.